Have you ever felt shamed in a doctor's office when you were asking for help to get pregnant? As a fertility coach who guides many people in their 40s, I hear stories so often from those who have felt devastated by their experiences of consultations with their fertility doctors. Why is talking to doctors about fertility in your 40s so very painful, and what can you do about this? That is the topic of today's video. Stick around till the end because I'll be sharing specific suggestions of how to move forward from a place of confidence despite other people's attitudes. I'm Dr. Natalie Masson, and I'm a clinical psychologist with my own experiences of going through pregnancies and losses in my 40s, and now I'm helping others move through their fertility journeys with strength and courage. In a recent video, I shared an email from a viewer we're calling Carla, where she said she was told in her early 40s that her only chance of a successful pregnancy was with donor eggs. 3 months later, she was pregnant naturally. Now at age 46, she's trying to get pregnant again, and she went for a consultation at a fertility clinic. She was told quite bluntly that it wasn't worth trying with her own eggs at all. Their only recommendation was to use donor eggs. She felt devastated. And she wrote, "I'm sick of age shaming. It's no wonder we have trouble believing in our bodies." So let's explore this. Why are doctors so pessimistic about your eggs and wanting to encourage donor eggs when you are in your 4th decade of life? Not all fertility clinics will encourage you in this direction, but it seems to be pretty common these days. I've come up with 10 possible explanations for why there's so much pessimism. Number one, they've looked at the statistics and they just don't feel hopeful when they see a number in the single digits. They don't believe that you could be an exception to the rule. But maybe you're still interested in giving this a shot, knowing the statistics, and you want to hear how they can help, not how hopeful or hopeless they feel. Number two, they may feel it's their responsibility to be realistic and that it would be unethical to mislead you to take your money for something that has a relatively low chance of success. But really, as long as you're knowledgeable about the medical statistics, it's really up to you to decide what kinds of chances are worth it for you to take. Number three, they may be concerned about their own success rates for the well-being of their business, because these fertility clinics do report how many attempts have been made and how many successes there are. So when they see someone at a certain age, they have an expectation of how that's going to go, and they may not want to take the risk of dragging down their success rates by including somebody who doesn't have a higher probability of success with the IVF treatments. In other words, it could directly impact them financially if their statistics go down, and it reduces the credibility of their business. Number four, maybe they don't specialize in working with women your age and they aren't interested in learning more about how to help you. Some clinics seem quite interested in this demographic, and they're more likely not to lead with such a negative outlook, but to lead with describing what the possibilities are and how they can help you reach the goals that you have. Number five, perhaps they genuinely want you to have the best possible chances of success in bringing home a baby, and 40% with donor eggs next to under 10% with your own eggs sounds like a reasonable suggestion to encourage the option that has much higher chance. But again, does this align with the specific goals that you have? If your preference is strongly to use your own eggs, that's for you to decide. Number six, perhaps some doctors are heartless, mean-spirited people. These do exist. Let's hope that's not the norm. I think most doctors go into medicine with a genuine desire to help people, but there's all kinds of variation in any profession. So sometimes you get somebody who's just not very nice. Number seven, perhaps they learn to be condescending and demeaning from their own training as a medical professional. Yes, there is an element to the culture of training in medicine that is kind of harsh, to be honest. I appreciated a podcast episode from Dr. Natalie Crawford. She is a an OBGYN and reproductive endocrinologist, I believe, and she has a podcast called As a Woman. And one of her earliest episodes is called Mean Girl in Recovery. In there, she's very honest about her own process of being shaped by her medical school experiences and becoming kind of mean as the head resident, training other medical students behind her, because that was kind of the culture. They break you down to build you up, to make you the most sharp, rigorous medical practitioner that you can be. That's the approach. And sometimes that kind of translates to their bedside manner and their patient relations. They've been for many years, like a decade, groomed and trained into this very hierarchical system where the person in a position of authority has the information and they should be listened to, and they're going to tell you how things are. So sometimes you may be picking up on this kind of attitude that has developed as a byproduct of the culture of Western medicine training. There are many doctors who do retain a wonderful bedside manner despite everything that they've been through, and are really warm and compassionate and can really see the human in front of them when they're having these consultations. But I think for some, that may have gotten trained out of them. And you may be seeing some of the impact of how this doctor was talked to throughout their training and becoming a doctor, and now that's kind of being passed on to how they're talking to their patients. Reason number 8 for why you might be feeling shame or negativity in your doctor's office when talking about your fertility is they might not be very empathic and understanding, because they may lack experience of having been in shoes like yours. When you haven't gone through something yourself, sometimes it's hard to imagine what that feels like. Dr. Natalie Crawford, who I just mentioned, shared in a video or a podcast episode about her own experiences of going through miscarriages while working as a resident delivering babies, literally while she was going through one of her miscarriages. So she has some firsthand experience of what it's like to go through pregnancy and losses. I remember for myself, when I was 45 years old and I was going through my very first miscarriage, I was in the throes of the darkest part of one of the darkest nights for myself, going through a miscarriage, and I was in the bathroom. I remember seeing the tile on the floor and just feeling such a deep despair. And paradoxically, at the same time, I felt a sense of gratitude that I could know what this experience was like. Weird, right? But I felt like, boy, I did not get it, and there's no way I could get it without going through this myself. And I just felt this deep pang of understanding, like, wow, I get this in a very visceral way. Maybe that was some foreshadowing of where I would go next in my career. I had no idea at that time that this would become something that I dedicated myself to, supporting others going through such hard times and having such deep compassion for what they're experiencing, because I've been there in that kind of situation myself. So your doctors aren't going to have been through all the same things that you've been through, and sometimes they simply lack that human element of really deeply appreciating how this feels on your end. Number 9, it may be that you are hearing the doctor's message through your own filter of age shaming toward yourself. It may be that someone just simply saying, at your age, this is what the statistics show, you may hear at your age, that may be the filter that you are holding and not related to the attitude of the person who's talking to you. So be aware when it's your own stuff that is being triggered by the person who is trying to offer you responsible, helpful guidance. Possibility number 10 is sometimes people shame others when they want to protect themselves from being shamed. Maybe they feel bad when they offer a treatment that doesn't go well, and they don't want to feel their own feelings of failure and shame, and so they don't really want you to go down that path. Don't go down the dark hallway, go toward the light. So these 10 things that I've listed are just an example of the many factors that could be at play when you go into a doctor's office and say, "Hi, I am X years old. This is my history. This is what I want. Please tell me what you have to offer." There are so many factors at play that could be contributing to what they're telling you and how you're experiencing that. So there's lots of reasons why when you show up for a consultation at a fertility clinic in your 40s, you might be faced with a lot of pessimism, doom and gloom. And I think it's reasonable to be aware of, the data that we have for the success rates of fertility clinics. But the reason I don't really like to shine a light on the pessimism and negativity is, what happens when we focus on pessimism and statistics with low probabilities? We feel stress, we feel doubt, we give up, we don't take care of ourselves, our energy doesn't flow well because we're so depressed and constricted. We don't give our bodies the best chance to be the exception to the rule, to thrive in our best possible way. And when we focus instead on hope and possibilities, we are more likely to take proactive and strategic steps to get there. We're more likely to feel an energy that is uplifting and expansive that helps to support our best fertility. So even when you're aware that there may be the odds stacked against you, I just don't think it's helpful to shine a light on that and focus intensively on that. But how about focusing on the possibility that this could happen? Just last week, there was history made in ice skating. A 40-year-old woman who returned to ice skating at age 33. She retired when she was 17. She was a junior champion. She came back at 33 and decided she was going to really go for it. She found a partner to train with, and they just won the World Championships in Montreal last week, and she became the oldest woman to earn a world figure skating title. In this case, it was in pairs figure skating. Her name is Dina Stellato-Dudek, and if you watch interviews with her, you can feel her positive energy. She's never been concerned that nobody has done this before her at her age. Her focus was, how can it be me? How can I make this happen? And you hear her in her interviews saying, I hope that I open up the doors for more to come behind me and have high expectations for what they can do at their age. That's the kind of energy we want to surround ourselves with. So I have 5 recommendations for taking care of your attitude even in the face of negativity. Number 1 is surround yourself with age-positive people. People who are saying, what else can we do? What more can we do? Even if it wasn't like that in the past, how can we break through barriers? Number 2, focus on the win-win in fertility. We're talking about boosting your health and your self-care for the sake of improving your fertility and bringing home your baby, but we're also going to win either way because you're going to be your healthiest self for having gone down this path. That is the win-win. You take home a baby, that's a win. You become your healthiest self, that is a win too. Number 3, be smart, not desperate. So think of how you can be proactive and strategic, but recognize when you're coming from that place of desperate energy, because that interferes with your ability to think, to hear, to listen to your own insight, to find your best balance. If you're feeling that desperation, come back to self-calming, self-confidence, grounding yourself. that you can move forward from a place of being smart and strategic. My fourth suggestion for protecting your energy in the face of negativity is to decide what you want to take in. You can hear things and understand what's being said, but decide what you want to internalize. This was illustrated well by a viewer who commented on my last video. J Barnes 200 wrote, "I just turned 47 and chose to do IUI despite the advisement of the fertility doctor. I had my first IUI and it didn't take. When I asked for any advice for the next one, she said that there wasn't any because I'm healthy, but I'm just old and for me to face the facts. I told her I didn't receive that. Her eyes got big and she said, I'm not saying that it can't happen through IUI, but it's a low chance. I told her I still didn't receive that message. For me, I wasn't putting that message in my spirit." So that's a wonderful illustration of having the confidence to hear the facts and to decide what you want to take and how you want to integrate that and how you want that to inform you going forward. It really is your choice. And recommendation number 5 came from comments in a live coaching session I think I was doing with my members. Somebody said, "Picture your doctor naked." Picture your doctor naked. They're a human being with clothes on, maybe a white coat that represents authority, but underneath all that, they're a human being too. Yes, they have training, they have experience, they have education, but they're a human being with all of their characteristics. This reminds me of a scene from The Wizard of Oz, which I just rewatched recently. And Dorothy and her friends, the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, have finally made it to the end of their quest where they're coming to the wizard who has been promised to be able to grant them their wishes. And the wizard is extremely intimidating, he's insulting, he's denigrating, and the Cowardly Lion, all of his shaking and fear, goes up to the wizard to approach him, and the wizard is just so intimidating, the lion literally just falls over and faints. Dorothy jumps up to the lion's defense and yells at the wizard, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself for frightening him like that when he came to you for help." The wizard, of course, turns out just to be a little old man behind the curtain, and he changes his tune when his humanness is revealed. So picture your doctor in their underwear. They're just people in clothes. They have education and experience, but no one has any business shaming anyone else. Don't let anyone else shame you. Don't shame yourself. Today I led a meditation in movement in a free live event that I offered. It was called Mind Body Cleanse for Fertility. It was designed to help release negative energy from your mind and body. We did it in a Zoom meeting room where I could see everybody face to face. And it was such a lovely sisterhood circle. And the feedback was so positive that I am going to offer this again. If you join my email list, you'll get notification of the next opportunity of this event and other things like this. Just see the link in the description below. And please share your comments below. If you've had difficult experiences facing doctors related to your age and your fertility, tell us about what happened and how you dealt with it. And if you've had positive experiences of being received well and being encouraged and being supported, please share that too. And if you don't mind, share your doctor's name, share the name of your clinic. We would like to spread the word about the age-positive practitioners out there who are supporting people in pursuing their dreams and giving them the best chance possible. Now, I mentioned a few times that doctors may have opinions the way they do because of the statistics. Check out my last video, which is called Over 40 and Curious About Pregnancy Success Rates. And that'll give you some idea of how I think about focusing on optimism versus pessimism, particularly when you're looking at fertility data by age. And if you're looking for guided meditations for building up your sense of confidence and empowerment, I encourage you to check out my guided meditation called Trusting Your Body. It's designed to help you shift your expectations of all that can be possible for you and your amazing body. Thank you for watching today. Please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos like this, and I wish you all the best as you pursue your big dreams.